I think we are all blessed, Swamiji, to have you with us today. You know, Swamiji, I was 5 years old when my father met Gurudev. And it would not be an exaggeration to say that in that moment he met Swami Chinmayananda, my father, his complete life got transformed. And we have such wonderful memories of being with Gurudev. And it would not be an understatement to say that all the wonderful things that have happened in our life, of our family, we have a deep sense of gratitude to Swami Chinmayananda. And Swamiji, you, Swami Mitrananda, like I, at a very young age, you met Gurudev. And then for you, life turned into a completely new path. So Swamiji, first of all, I just want to say how happy we are to have you here with us today.
Namaskaram. Hari Om.
Swamiji, would you like to begin with a prayer like you always do?
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejas Vinavati Tamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Swamiji, do you remember the first moment in your life when you met Swami Chinmayananda and then this new phase of your life started? Could you share with us about that journey and how you got involved in the Chinmaya Mission?
My mom and dad were Gurudev's devotees, even before I was born. So I was born to parents who were already his followers. So my journey started before I was born. And I was in the Bal Vihar. So Bal Vihar used to happen in our house. And there was even the first yajna of one of the senior Swamis of Chinmaya Mission happened in our house in 60s. And Bal Vihar class used to happen there. Study class was going on in our house. So I've seen all this and connected that way from early childhood. But you really couldn't understand much of Gurudev except once in a while when he tells a story or he gives us some prasad. But attending his talks at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 made no sense. But there was no option but to go attend because my parents used to go. They can't leave us alone at home. So my mom used to take me and go sit in the Yajnishala. I have to attend. So, and Gurudev, like you can't make noise there. You can't scream. You have to only sit. So I used to sit there, not understand a word. And when people used to laugh, and because he was a very, very witty speaker, and 8,000, 10,000 people will laugh and you won't even know why they're laughing. So I have been through that phase. And then slowly, the more started when I joined the Yuva Kendra. When I could start thinking on my own, it was an independent thinking. So since I could independently think, I connected with Gurudev much more that time. So that was definitely inspiring. When you start understanding what he was doing, what he was saying, and how Vedanta is an absolute dynamic philosophy. It is not for somebody who is passive. In fact, only people who could strongly think would love Vedanta. So during my high school time, I drifted from all that what I've learned in Bal Vihar and all that and moved towards atheism. And if anyone has got those atheistic thinking, Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda is the best man to meet because he had the same background. So I had few questions that way, picked up here and there from Bertrand Russell and stuff like that. And when I used to talk, he used to answer them so brilliantly, so I could connect. And somewhere in mid-80s, early 80s or mid-80s, Swamiji called me once to come to Siddhabari. And I happened to go there. And there again, like once in 2 days, he'll give me 5 minutes time to be with him, to talk something. Otherwise, I was attending 3 lectures a day of his. So that also made a lot of impact. Then I think in late 80s, I attended the full marathon camp, Vivek Chudamani. And that's when I took a call that I would join the monastery, become a monk.
Do you remember the day when that realization came to you that this is your path?
I told you, it was during that camp in Siddhabari.
Yes.
I was there, attended the entire Vivek Chudamani. It was 45 days camp.
Yes.
And imagine 3 sessions he was taking plus a Q&A every day.
Yes.
And half an hour morning meditation. So that was very intense. So after the camp, I still stayed back in Siddhabari for a week. So only with this question, the question which was with me that time was like, this is my life, and what's the best I can do with it? And that was the question I had, and I sat with that question in those, Siddhabari hills and valleys, and went on with that question almost for 7-8 days with that question. Somewhere there, I was convinced, like saying, yes, I know this is where I want to be.
Oh, very nice. Swamiji, out of all the things that you have done since then, and you've been chosen as the instrument by Gurudev to do many things, and I know you have done some remarkable things thanks to his inspiration and thanks of your being the chosen instrument. Would you like to talk about some of those moments that you have been part of, which have brought so much of joy to millions of people? Could you talk about those?
First, let it not be autobiographical, okay?
Yes.
Because otherwise it starts sounding that way.
Yes.
There are projects which we as an organization have taken it up.
Yes.
And they were very, very inspiring projects.
Yes. Yes.
Like I was given the responsibility to head the youth movement of Chinmaya Mission.
Yes.
So way back in 1998, 1999, I got involved into this. And I mean, as a heading the youth wing. Then 2000, we had that centenary celebration, not centenary, 50th year of Chinmaya Mission.
2001, yes,
2001. We had that, what we call Vishwa Sammelan.
Yes.
Vishwa Sammelan was like an event of 10,000 people coming and staying. And we took it up at an Andheri sports complex. It was happening in a stadium. And the task given to me was, we need 1,500 volunteers for this event across India, because to run the whole show, we need volunteers, and the number was 1,500. Now, I just took over the Yuva Kendra at that time. And where do you get 1,500 people across the country to volunteer? It's not a one-day event. The event itself was for 10 days. So training goes for 1 week at least before, winding up after the event 3 days. So minimum 20 days, we need people who would give their time. And their travel by train, people, most of them have to travel by train. So different corners have to come from different corners. People have to come to Bombay. So when they have to come there, it was like 5-6 days. So you're asking almost 26 to 28 days of youngsters to come and volunteer for a camp. That was not easy. Because it didn't happen in summer holidays, where we would have got it like that. Hands down, we would have picked up people if it was in summer holidays. This event happened in December. So December, most of the schools, colleges have their second semester exams. That gets over by 23rd, 24th, and then the holidays begins. So you have to find out people who do not have exams. So if you're going out and asking for working youngsters, they are not going to get 28 days leave for sure. So 28 days leave for working youngsters was not possible. So you need to bring students who don't have exam. That again is very hard. So it was such a struggle, and have to go center by center, first talk to the youngsters. So that year I traveled across India, throughout every center where there was Chinmaya Mission. Met that resident in charge, teacher, and also met the immediate committee which was running them, and then told the committee that I want to meet the parents of these youngsters. So there were 3-4 meetings every time, and we have to talk to the parents. Parents were not happy, like saying, what is that my child will gain? I said, listen, your child gets an exposure of a worldwide organization, partnership, people coming in, participants, worldwide participants, and they are learning practically how to organize a 10-day event for 10,000 plus people, which is a global event. And this can be a prayer as a dedication they can do. And so it took lots and lots of convincing thing. And I remember Chidrupananda was with me. He was general secretary and I was the president. So we went around, managed this, and managed to get 1,500. So for me, this was one real task at a very odd time to get this. And once we got that, I understood now that we have a team. We have committed people across the country. Now that we have harnessed them, got in touch with them, so I could almost 1,500 people, I know them by name. So we connected that way that time. So then we said, now we have to do something more. Since we have harnessed the youth potential together, let's do something. From there, we took up the project called Awakening Indians to India.
That's been a fantastic moment. Please talk about that, Swami. Yes.
So we took that up. That was a big initiative. We brought the team together and we said, youngsters who are 12th standard, who are college, university graduates, we said, let's do a program which will have a very wide reach. And we titled it Awakening Indians to India, because we saw through our curriculum, what was there at that time, India was hardly spoken. And if at all India was spoken to, it was spoken more on the negative. We knew the invaders more than the people who lived here. We knew different things much more, and our glory we did not know. And in fact, we are the ones we had the first universities in the world. So what must be our knowledge bank? And what was the GDP we had even till the 18th century? So people did not know these things. So we said we should make them aware. So we decided, we called the youngsters and said, now this is how you empower the youth. We said, let's make a book. Each one of you have to contribute something or other. We will make a book of 500-page book, voluminous, with 500 facts of India, which an Indian should know, an Indian should be proud of. That's why we call it Awakening Indians to India. So a book was brought out, a nice book. And in this regard, I happened to meet Abdul Kalam a couple of times. And he was president of India at that time. So there was a very interesting meeting I had. He gave me an appointment in the morning. One second, please. Sorry. No. The appointment was in the morning by 8 a.m. But Kalam decided to prepone it if I am ready by 11 p.m. And he was flying from Delhi, and I was on my Gita Yajna. I was giving talks on the Bhagavad Gita. which the timing was 7 to 8:30. So my phone was on silence. After the talk, when I put the phone on, there were some 15, 20 missed calls. All are from Delhi. And I called back and they said, Rashtrapati Bhavan office. He said, so what is there now? He said, Kalam has already boarded the flight. He's flying to Chennai. And he's got something to do tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Would you like the appointment to be shifted to 11 p.m. tonight? I said, hey, that's interesting. To meet Kalam anyway is always interesting. And I met him before a few times. Even when he was in charge of Anna University, I have met him. So I said, obviously, we took it up. So I went and it was supposed to be for 20, 30 minutes, the meeting. And just tell him about this initiative called Awakening Indians to India. And he was so impressed with the project. And the meeting went from 11 to past midnight. And I want to get up and come away because I know, imagine President of India sitting there past midnight discussing a project, and I was more concerned for him, his rest. So otherwise I would have sat through when we would have gone. The mood in which he was and the freshness the president had, we would have gone on for another 2 hours discussing. But I didn't want that. So past midnight, I told him, sir, you need to rest. So thank you very much for inspiring. And he wrote a brilliant letter, a foreword for that book. Imagine Kalam writing a foreword for that book, Awakening Indians to India. So that was very inspiring. And I asked him, we're doing this as a quiz. So this will be a quiz program nationally, and we would telecast it even in TV. Let's do this and all that. And then the winners from each state, whoever has won from each state in India, I want them to meet you personally. So you have to give us time in Rashtrapati Bhavan. I'll bring the winners there. And Kalam sir accepted that, and that was nice. So we had this quiz run across the country. 285,000 people participated in it.
Wow.
And then we had winners from district level, and then the winners at the state level. And then we had zonal level winners, and then the national winners. And it was taken up in Zee TV, I think in 2003. Zee TV telecasted it for 13 weeks, so prime time. Right after, it was around, I think, 11 to 11:30 or something. They used to telecast this for 13 weeks. And that reached out lots and lots of people. So that's a very big, massive project. The youth took it up. We made people who are 18, 19, 20 years work for it. Imagine somebody who are 18 and 20 coming up with a book of 500 facts on India, and then designing an entire national event and conducting the program at various levels. And all these were volunteers, totally. So that was one huge flip we had. So after harnessing that potential, this was the immediate project we invested, because otherwise it would have been waste. Imagine getting 1,500 workers to come and give you 25 days, which today, if I sit back and think, I'm still baffled. It happened, His grace, it happened. And then we harnessed them with this project immediately followed. So that was, I think, some of the most very active time of the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra also. It flipped around everywhere, people were aware. And some of the national leaders were straight away telling us, saying, we are very happy to see Chinmaya Yuva Kendra back to the nation building schemes, to the nationalistic programs. So it had a good thing.
And Swamiji, I remember that book, and what I really loved about the book, that it was not just talking about all our great spiritual masters. In fact, all the wonderful people, including Dr. V. Kurian, and the whole movement on the Amul, with whom I had the good fortune also to be associated to work with them. And several other things, scientific achievements in all sort of aspects of life. So how did that curriculum for that book, if I may say, come to you? How did you think of that? How did the young people design that?
We sat together for 3 days or 4 days in Chennai, and representatives from all over India turned up. We sat down and we said, we would make a 500-page book. What should be the content? At least we should have some 60, 70 topics covered in it. So we said, fine, sit down. And then we started listing down the best of the musicians we have, the best of the architects we have, the best of trade fair we have done, and topics like that. And then, of course, philosophy, nationalist, revolutionaries, Indian corporation, things like that. We picked up Indian sportsmen. So it had covered around 70, 75 topics. So, and 500-page book came out with that only. So it's totally done by the youth. They are the ones who worked on it, compiled the data, sat together. We put a editorial team to edit it. So it was all new. And I'm sure all those who were actively involved in that are highly empowered youth. The project itself has given a vision. And then to take it to a logical conclusion for a 17 or 18-year-old to think of telecasting on a national TV, not one event for 13 weeks, to run a quiz there, write the script, what the person who's conducting the quiz has to comment and speak, stuff like that. Because most of them were not aware of India. So we need to educate the people who are conducting also, guide them here and there and saying, add this comment here. So this kind of a scripting was done. So I think there were 7 or 8 rounds of written quiz. And then there were 3, 4 rounds of verbal quiz. Then it came to television.
Wonderful. Swami, you, as I have experienced you have used some extremely creative methods to channel the youth power of this country. And including, the trips on motorcycles to the Himalayas and converting many of our spiritual teachings through theater into some wonderful creative performances. Can you talk a little bit more about how you engage the youth in the methods that they love to use to follow this path?
What we did is, once we did this event, this program, I want to convert it into a movement. This Awakening Indians to India has to become a movement. So that is when we had this idea. We took this initiative called Youth Empowerment Program, which is called a Yuva Veer. When you finish it, you're called a Yuva Veer. Some 600, 700 youngsters have done this program so far. And every batch we were looking at 50, 60 people, max 50. So this was a program where people used to get trained for 75 days. First, we started with 4 months training, 2 years service, and then we changed it into 75 days training, 1 year service. This brought people inside, because now we have built a team, and if we have empowered them, wherever they go, they can inspire more people. So this initiative was very, very important because it gave us a lot of workers. We had a team. And once you have a team, we can think big. We can really think big because you have a team, the manpower you have, human resources. And once you know the strength, what you have, thinking big becomes natural. It is easy. So after Awakening, we established with this empowerment program, wherein every youngster gave 1 year for India. People from India and abroad came. A lot of people from abroad too came and studied, did the training and served India. We had them posted in metro cities, in small cities, towns, Mofussil India. We posted them all over the place and gave us kind of a regiment, a schedule which they need to practice and serve. So that was a big thing. So in all this, when you keep working with youth, you realize, you understand the pulse, you understand what is their inclination. Then what is considered as the most difficult subject, spirituality, where the youngsters have no interest, that's what generally people say. I found, if spirituality can reach them the way in which they like learning it, the bridges built, that you have made a bridge, bringing this philosophy to them. So we took up initiatives like going to Amarnath Yatra. So going to Amarnath Yatra is regular. You take a train or you take a flight, get on at Jammu or get on at Srinagar or at Jammu, drive and go. We said, let's drive from Chennai. We'll go on a motorcycle. And that too we'll do via Leh. Now you see, there are many young people not interested in Amarnath, but they were interested in motorcycling. And to go to the highest motorable road on earth, Kardungla Pass, they were very interested. I said, yeah, this is the carrot I'm showing you, but Amarnath is the goal. So I learned the art of showing carrots, but they came. And once you come to Amarnath, imagine driving across India. You feel India. You smell every state, every culture. You taste their food. You meet the people. You see their clothing. One journey to Amarnath from Chennai, if you go across, imagine how many states you cut across and how many cultural differences you see. And then you see all of them are inclined, and then you take them to Shiva. And then we came to Srinagar from there, from Kargil, after Amarnath Yatra, from Sonmarg, we came to Srinagar. Now, Kashmir is a place. I'm saying way back, we were doing this in 99, 2000, 93 we did once. Yeah, one trip I remember doing it in 93. So that is the time where we have to go to Kashmir. In 93, when we go to Kashmir, it made sense. Because not people were ready to go there. The terrorism was more. We said, we should go there. So we clubbed all this. So people see about India. So in one trip, connecting to Shiva, connecting to India, their own confidence which builds up in a travel like that, the vision they expand. So these are the methods. Like one more incident I'll say. How do you make youngsters read Kathopanishad? You tell them, come on, let's read Kathopanishad. Nobody's going to come. So I said, this is not the way they're going to learn Kathopanishad, nor am I going to teach them Kathopanishad this way. So I called a group of young people and said, sit together, let's work on this. I said, I want you to write a play on death, theater. It should be a 90 minutes presentation, theater, a theatrical show on death. Source material, Kathopanishad. Read and work out on a theme. So we sat together, came out with an idea, and Kathopanishad, in the way in which today's youngsters would appreciate, we formed a skit, a theatrical presentation, and it was brilliant. Nobody will know it is Kathopanishad because it was something like a modern drama. But the theme was Kathopanishad. And in the end, we bring in the mantras. Towards the end, we bring in the mantra, saying this is the mantra in the Kathopanishad, which describes about death this way. So we took programs of that kind. All this connected with youth well.
Swamiji, I want to ask you one thing. The whole mission of Chinmaya Mission, our motto is to bring maximum happiness to the maximum people for the maximum time. And all the work the mission does is completely selfless. And hundreds of organizations have been created. The 100 schools and colleges, the hospitals, the Chinmaya Organization of Rural Development. All this global movement, the only thing that every one of our workers and volunteers and spiritual teachers wants is only to spread happiness to others. That means it's completely selfless. This being the case, this selfless movement, how does it gain its nourishment, energy, strength, and how does it continue from strength to strength? And therefore, that brings me to my favorite project that you did, Swamiji, which was making that brilliant movie on Gurudev called On the Quest, which we show to all the students of soil every year. And after showing them, we give them a name. That batch, that cohort is given a name. So it's like an annual process ever since you have given us that gift of that film. So tell me, this whole selfless work and the making of that movie, can you talk about where does this energy come from, and how did the movie project come to you and its impact on everybody?
See, when the goal is inspiring, and when we are able to touch somebody's heart to explain why this is important, then it is no more your vision. It becomes their vision. So we must, in building a team, the person heading the team should have the patience to see that the vision what the leader has or what the founder had cannot be his vision. It has to become our vision. So how do you inspire them of that vision to own that vision? So once in different exposures, what we do, formal discussions, informal discussions, if you ask me, I would honestly say, I learned so much from Gurudev when he was not on the dais. You understand? When Gurudev was on the dais giving lectures, that's one kind of a learning. But when you are around him, various initiatives, what he has taken, and you are working for it, trying to develop it, run a Balviyar, in all this you learn much more. So we learn from Gurudev. Basically, for me at least, it worked that way. I learned more from him when he was not on the dais. Not from the lecturing sessions, but outside that is what inspires. Because in that informal sessions with him, he made us own his vision. So we say it is his vision, but basically we start owning it. So when you are able to convey this, that vision, that grand vision, if you make people own it, they become committed. A selfless worker is born this way. And of course, everywhere you will find namesake workers. People come for different reasons. They can have their own agenda, stuff like that. But they will come there, and if they still manage to hang around, over a period of time, they transform. And the vision becomes theirs. So that is very important. How much they own the vision is very important. From there comes the selfless workers. Once it inspires them and they feel and they're touched by it, they want to contribute. Basically, this is how love works. When you love, you want to protect it. It is impossible to love and not to protect. It is impossible to love and not to give. Whatever you love, you would like to preserve it. Whatever you love, you like to protect it. Whatever you love, you like to see it doing well. So once this vision becomes their love, they start giving their time. So this is something which we have to understand. So basically, through informal sessions, through travel, through sit and chatting, sometimes through a walk, people slowly get this vision. Book knowledge, the yajnas, what we do, etc., inspires people to study the subject well. It may not create workers, please remember. There are so many studious people, they hardly work. They're bookish, you understand? But there are people who come to work and slowly connect to the subject. Their unfoldment is much more. I've been fortunate to work with that kind of a team who are workers and also seekers. And so they have the combination of seeking and serving. And then that's the team. Now, you also asked me to tell about On a Quest. It's a very nice initiative. Since I was working with theatre, even when I was in my school, university level, Chinmaya Yuva Kendra time, I was always involved with theatre. So must have written maybe 25 plays I must have written. I stopped writing them now, but I've done quite a few, like Surya, Death, 2047. We had various plays we have written. So when it comes to theatre, I think I had an edge over others in the organization. So I was keen. I said somehow we should bring Gurudev into the screen for people to see. So I approached the authorities and told them saying, this is something which I want to get involved for the centenary year. And they felt I'm competent to do it. That was good. So I had the absolute freedom to work with the script as I want. Nobody interfered, nobody did anything. So I had the full freedom, and so we worked. And I went around, met some of the old senior most devotees and some people who Gurudev was in touch when he was not even Swami Chinmayananda as Balakrishna Menon. So I have even some of the authentic versions recorded. For example, we met Swami Sundarananda in Gangotri. Sundarananda was Gurudev's Guru Bhai, who studied under Swami Tapovanji, and he still takes care of the Gangotri ashram there. So I have his video recording of what he and Gurudev discussed about the freedom movement, like things like that. So I met people like that to get some of the information. And of course, in the mission, we have lots of people who will have. So clubbed all of them and made it into a movie. It is not a fiction, it is factual movie.
And what an inspiring movie. Swamiji, even though I've watched it so many times, in the end, I always have tears in my eyes. It's so moving. What a wonderful gift you have given to all of us. And through that movie, we show it to all the soil students every year. I'm looking forward to showing it.
To the students of soil, I would like to tell you this. Please remember, everyone who acted in the movie acted for the first time. Nobody there was a professional actor. Everyone came on in front of the camera for the first time. Because I was very particular about it. I said this tribute to Gurudev should be from his followers, his devotees. So the boy who directed was also someone who studied in our school, Prasanna. He was a student from LKG to 12th standard in Chinmaya Vidyalaya. So we had people connected with the organization, and everybody who acted were first timers. And that was it. And everybody came there to act as their expression of devotion. So it was not acting, it was their devotion to contribute. So On a Quest was a powerful Mahayajna. How many people, different parts of the world, people were involved. At one phone call, people used to come. I remember this girl, Natasha, who was part of the script team. We have to finish the script. It was getting delayed, and I know she can help me in doing it. I called her in the morning, and she lives in London. I said, how quickly can you come to India? He said, when do you want me to come? I said, tonight. He said, okay, Swamiji. She took an afternoon flight. The girl landed in Bombay that night. And next morning, she came to Chennai.
Wow.
So there were people that kind involved. So it's a Mahayajna. Yajna in the sense, people from all corners of the world were involved. People came for funding and all that. And what I love the best is, first time when you do something, people are not very confident. They're not sure what this product is going to be, and not sure of it. And so financial support also, like, we need to go around and ask for people, you're making a movie. Do you know how to make a movie? Said, who writes the script? I said, I've written the script, So it took time. Once the first screening, the premium screening was over, I remember we had a lunch in Heritage Center with all the dignitaries, whoever the guests we called, all were sitting together and we were having lunch. 3 people came to me, 3, and said, if you're doing sequel 2, I give you a blank check. So that was really nice, like saying, okay, if you're doing the sequel 2, because there is content for sequel 2 actually. And I thought sequel 2, we should call it Renaissance. So there is content. The script, what we wrote, we used only one portion of it for the movie. So, and 3 of them offered a blank check saying, don't worry about the budget. Go at whichever scale you want, we'll support you. So that was nice. So
wonderful. Thank you, Swamiji.
Somebody should take up sequel too.
Thank you, Swamiji. Swamiji, many questions are already beginning to bubble up. So here is Satish Shenoy, who is a senior president with Aditya Birla Group.
Achha.
So he says, Hari Om Swamiji, you lead such a busy life. If the Lord gave you an extra hour a day, how would you spend it?
Who is asking? Satish.
Satish Shenoy.
Okay. Hari Om Satish, good evening. What will you do if you have an extra hour? You know what I will do? I would try to sit quietly. Right now, my state of mind is that I would go sit on the seashore and watch the ocean doing nothing. Because we have been doing it too much. It is time we experience stillness. We've been round and round and round. But the whole world is so vibrant. It is important that we quieten, we sit. If we get that one extra hour, we should use for sitting quietly. That's what I mean. Personally, I would do. I would sit quietly. And from that stillness, if something comes up, it must be definitely His will. Your mind and your ego will not interfere. So if I get that one more extra hour, if my day becomes 25 hours, the 25th hour I will use for sitting quietly.
Thank you.
By the riverside, under a tree, watching the sunset or the sunrise, nice overnight, like sitting and looking at the stars, or sitting by the seaside and looking at the blue, infinite, liquid expansion.
Swamiji, Sabrish, who's one of our students, is asking, my question is, how should a youngster look at the spiritual side of life and how will it benefit us?
Shabarish,
yes.
Your question is, how would us young people should look at spiritual subject, right?
And how will it benefit them?
You have to learn when you're young because it teaches you how to live. Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, spirituality teaches us how to live. So learning how to live should be done when we are young. When we go to school, university, and when we come out, have we learned how to handle life? Is this part of the curriculum, how to manage life? As the school curriculum, when you finish till graduation, teaches you how to handle emotions. We don't get all this. Do you understand? We don't learn these things at all. So it is important, it is very important that we learn Vedanta when we are young. When we are young, we learn, and that would make us live life better. So definitely this is a subject to be learned when you're young. And your question is valid because many young people don't think this is a subject they need to learn. That's because somewhere a wrong opinion, a wrong narrative is created. For a very long time, the wrong narrative was Vedanta, spirituality are all meant for people who are aged, or it is meant for people who have to renounce. People who have to renounce. If they think Vedanta is for people who have to renounce, then this narrative is dangerous. And this narrative dominated the Indian mind, Indian psyche for a very long time. Please remember, the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, both were warriors, both were kings, king and prince discussing. So the entire knowledge were between two well-established warriors, kings and soldiers, kings and prince. They were sitting and discussing Bhagavad Gita. So you can understand how valid it is. It is not two sannyasis discussing. It is two grahasthas, householders who had responsibility of leading a country. They were sitting and discussing. So you understand how relevant this is. But somehow, I do not know, this narrative came in that this knowledge is meant for aged. This is not, and this is life negative. When you take to all this, you'll renounce everything and run away. Krishna did not. In fact, Arjuna wanted to run away. Krishna did not allow him to run away. He made him sit there and taught him how to live. So this is a knowledge which is meant for people who are young. That is the reason we started. I was talking earlier about youth empowerment program. This is one of the reasons we started that, where empowered youth will be in the clothes what you wear and go and teach, go and share, go and inspire. I don't want people in my attire to go and inspire. When we go there, immediately the narrative is, here are the people who have renounced. What they speak may not be relevant to me. Maybe they can do it. It is possible for them. No, that's not correct. So we need to make people who are young and who do not wear these kind of clothes, but who wear something like what you're wearing, should go out and do this work. Then they understand, yeah, this is practical what is saying. So that way we are very happy in the mission. More than 500, 600 people have been trained to do this kind of work. And it's not that they just serve for 1 year. That is this compulsory service period. But once they are out of the service period, wherever they are stationed in life, they continue to serve the same thing. So we have created a team of 500, 600 people who are capable of doing this work, inspiring young people.
Thank you, Swamiji. Shivani Bhatnagar, another one of our students, says, how can the youth help their peers in building resilience against the negativity that has been brought about by COVID?
COVID has given us some brilliant insights. You understand? COVID has given us some brilliant insights. For the first time, we experienced a lockdown. The generation just before us who left, they have no idea what this is. We are the first time, we are the generation which have seen the whole world being shut. And the greatest hope this COVID gave us is Earth can heal itself in a matter of 2 weeks to 3 weeks time if humans don't interfere. Rivers become clean. Rivers are beautiful. The pollution is down. So you see, this is the biggest learning we have got, that in 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, lot of things in the nature was rebalanced. Reset button that was. So there are lots of positive things which we have got from this corona. How many people have picked up online courses? How many people suddenly they found time to improve upon their health? How many people I've seen, when I go for walks in Chennai, I see in the mornings by 5 o'clock or so, hundreds of people taking cycle and going now, which was not so before COVID. Suddenly they are sitting at home in the lockdown, they need, and some insights came in. So this break that way was necessary for us to reconnect to ourselves. It made us turn and look what we are, where are we heading? So there are lots of good things which has come. Second, we have to understand what people have told us, like keeping ourselves clean, social distancing. These things are very important. If we can take care of that, I think we don't have to worry about COVID at all. We can work, we can manage, but have that extra awareness that you need to keep your hands always clean. Wash every now and then. And when you go out and come in, these were all old habits of India, man. We had these habits that you can't walk in. In my house, it was impossible to walk in without washing my legs. You may wear shoes, but you got to take it off, wash your legs, hands, then come in. So we had all these things. So I think it will help us with a better lifestyle too. And there can be negative narratives going around, too much fear, etc. on COVID. As a young person, I suggest to you that you should not be scared of this. Have strength to deal with it. If it comes, it comes. We should not be worried about it. But a virus should not destroy your dynamism. Please understand. You take rest, maybe you have just stepped back 1 or 2 steps, wait for the time to come back. So my simple suggestion would be, once the lockdown is over, when you come back, how are you going to be? When you come out of lockdown, you should be able to unleash your potential fully. Prepare. A beautiful time where we are restricted, we are thrown to be with ourselves. When I'm coming out of this, I would come out much more stronger. I would come out where I can unleash my potential, where I would learn to live life to my full potential. Nelson Mandela was in lockdown, solitary confinement, 26 years. How many years? 26 years. And when he came out from that imprisonment, what a man, what a vision, what strength. So that going inside and staying by himself, when he came out, he unleashed his full potential. He was very young when he went in. 26 years solitary confinement, a man is in jail, locked down. And he comes out. What a change. So use this as a time for your sadhana. Make it stronger. Make yourself stronger. When this is over, when I come out, there must be a visible difference. Before lockdown, I was a weakling. After lockdown, I am a person of strength. That kind of a shift we should do. So use this as an opportunity given to you, and you have found and tap your own source potentials there. Look at it as an opportunity. Don't look at it as a disaster.
Okay. Swamiji, Satish Shenoy, by the way, is the husband of Lakshmi Shenoy, who is the CFO of Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapith. The person who asked the question is the husband.
Okay. Yeah.
And Krishnan is asking a question. He is a colleague of mine from Aisha days.
Anil, we have
till 7:30.
Okay.
No, Swamiji, till 7:30.
7:30. Okay.
9 minutes more.
Yeah, right, fine.
So Swamiji, Krishnan is asking the question, which in the COVID scenario, there is so much of pain, especially with job losses, losing a near and dear one, uncertain future. And I think you've already given the advice, but is there anything else you can tell all the people working in corporations on how to handle this pain?
If you get heartbroken, if you see and you break down, things are going to be worse. The solution, what we have here is strength. You have to be stronger to handle this. Except, yes, it is a setback. It is a setback which needs some time to bounce back. Let us be confident of bouncing back, because before the virus attacked, I had certain experiences, and now that experience, what I have, will help me to do better. So when I bounce back, I should be able to bounce back with more confidence. So only solution for all these things is strength. Develop them now. Why? Because we do not know what is stored in the future. It may not be virus. It can be something. Personally, collectively, we do not know. Life can offer all kinds of things, all kinds of experiences. We need strength to deal with it. Cultivate strength. Strength is the solution. Strength will not come up tomorrow morning when I wake up. Strength is cultivated slowly. So how do I do it? Now start. Let's say at lockdown, I took up a sincere study of Bhagavad Gita. Every day, 3-4 verses. Read, reflect. Do one reading. 700 verses. If you read 4-5 verses daily, you'll finish it. And in 1 year's time or in 6 months' time, you can probably do one full revision of it. Imagine your strength by the insights of the Gita. So we should look at it as an opportunity to make ourselves stronger, because we have learned our lesson. If I am not strong, I will perish. If I am not strong, I'm pushed aside. I'm lost. So only strength. People with strength survive. People with strength live. Look at this as an opportunity to cultivate that strength. So read Gita, read Upanishads, or read books of great saints like Vivekananda, Swami Chinmayananda. Their works are there. Very contemporary teachers they are. or associate with different organizations which are there, like Ramakrishna Mission, Chinmaya Mission, Art of Living. There are so many organizations around. So whichever suits your temperament, join them. Because there you get empowered spiritually. And once you get slowly empowered spiritually, in a matter of 6 months to 1 year's time, you will have the strength which you need to deal with life. My teacher, Swami Chinmayananda, he used to always say, the difference of what we call as a situation and a problem depends on the quality of the mind. The mind, what we have, can interpret a situation as a problem. The mind, what we have, can even call a crisis a situation. Please remember, it depends on the quality of the mind. So spirituality is the best means to strengthen. So commit yourself to study, pick up few values and say these values which are there, and let us say 3-4 values you pick up, and this you will not compromise come what may. With that determination, when you pick up few values and you don't compromise, sticking to the values will give us strength. We become stronger that way. So sticking to the values, reading good literature will eventually give us strength. Of course, your prayer, japa, obviously will add up to your strength. So look at this as a great opportunity.
Wonderful. Swamiji, Anil Rajpal, who's running a consulting firm, he says, what's the right balance of hours a day between work and sadhana in your personal life?
I won't break it down into time that way. Let us say to a beginner, probably you must take care of your physical fitness. Please remember, everybody who's listening, please take care of your body. Commit to yoga. It is our heritage. We introduced it to the world. It is our gift to the entire humanity, yoga. Be proud of it. Commit to yoga and see what difference it makes. Pranayama. So pranayama and yoga, if you commit for half an hour daily, it will help you physically. Okay, half an hour time you're asking. So half an hour physical exercise, pranayama and yoga. Then probably 20 minutes of study. There are beautiful books we have. Our literature, what we have, ancient literature, is so huge. So please pick up these kind of books and read for 20 minutes. Now, what happens when you read for 20 minutes? Some input has gone inside. You have read, let us say. And that which has gone inside keeps churning within. They keep churning. The information has gone in and it keeps churning. And now churning has no time. Churning can happen wherever you are. When you're walking or in the bus stand, or you are sitting in a train and traveling, or in a flight, that which you have read, the mind starts churning and reflecting at different parts of the day. Let that churning continue. Because through churning, you will get clarity on what you have read. So study for 20 minutes will naturally make you reflect many parts of the day. The thoughts will come back again and again, and you'll be reflecting. Through reflection, one will develop clarity.
Thank you.
So study and reflect, which will give you clarity.
Swamiji, my sister's older sister, Poonam Didi's granddaughter in Dubai, Rishika Mehta, is asking a question. She's only 8 years old, but she often comes to the ashram. She's asking a question. Swamiji, how did you decide to become a Swami?
Again, a personal question. Child is asking.
Yes.
Rishika, I was very, very, very fortunate. I met a person by name Swami Chinmayananda. When I met him, I don't have to meet anybody else afterwards. All that I have to learn, I learned from him. It was so complete that I don't have to look anywhere. Until date, I have not heard anybody else nor looked anywhere else for guidance. What he gave me was so complete. I met a man so inspiring. You know how he was? He was always smiling, always happy, absolutely fearless. Please understand, always happy, always smiling, absolutely fearless, and totally loving. Rishika, when you meet somebody like this, would you not be inspired? Always smiling, always happy, always loving, absolutely fearless. And to any question he can answer, he had so much knowledge. I met this wonderful person. He inspired me. Therefore, I went. Had I met anybody else before or after him, I would not have taken this decision. I'm sure about it.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you. Swamiji, what a gift to be in your presence today. And I learned the following 5 things from you, Swamiji, today. 1, open to the possibilities when you meet a teacher like Swami Chinmayananda. Just enable, let it happen to you. Open your heart. 2nd, spirituality is a dynamic process. This is not something passive. We have to act in the world, and we have to realize our full potential, because it teaches us how to lead a path in life which truly matters. The 3rd thing you said, when you are imagining the process of serving others, do not be miserly in your imagination. Think big. So whatever projects that came to you, you did not put limits on your thinking. You let your imagination to serve humanity. You let it happen. 4th, you said, when you create a team around you where everybody begins to own the vision from their own heart, then that synergy that it's create, the people who come together in that way, they begin to resonate in a new frequency and amazing things happen. And then you said to us, in the whole crisis that has come to us, the biggest gift the crisis has given us, that the earth is balancing itself within a few weeks. It is teaching human beings to pay attention to what, and therefore the need for stillness, the need for silence, and the need for generating that capacity within yourself for that balance, out of which you said, when the invention and generation comes after silence, it will come from a space to serve and to make the world better. So thank you, Swamiji, for this gift. Thank you so much. And Swamiji, would you like to offer a prayer for us to close the conversation?
Yeah. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank
Best
you very much.
wishes to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji.